Alex, and Alex is with the Co.Lab, and he's going to show us around. And Co.Lab is an incubator space for people to come and start their own companies and become an entrepreneur, right?
Absolutely. Again, my name is Alex Lavage. So glad you're with us. I'm an entrepreneur in residence here at the Co.Lab. Over the past year, I've overseen several accelerator programs that are sponsored and held by this nonprofit organization here in the heart of Chattanooga, Tennessee. The Co.Lab is much more than accelerators. In a lot of ways, this is the front door to the entrepreneurial community in Chattanooga. Right now, we're in the heart of the Edney building on 11th and Market Street. A little bit of information is about the Edney building right over here. Essentially, this is in the heart of the Innovation District. There are roughly 80 innovation districts around the world. Chattanooga is the only mid-sized city in the U.S. to have an innovation district of its own. Essentially, what that means is that you're in the middle of a community where there are lots of knowledge workers, there's lots of disruptive technology, there are lots of people thinking about both social innovation and business innovation to make the world a better place. So we can walk into the Co.Lab here real quickly.
Here's a very important meeting going on.
Try not to bother them. Essentially, what is the Co.Lab about? It's about helping people start, get connected, build their vision, as well as inspire them to keep going. It inspires others in the community to also give back as well. One of the sayings we have here in Chattanooga is we've got one of the fastest internet infrastructures in the country. We're now at 10 gigabytes, over 600 square miles of surface area. What's really exciting about that is not only is that providing a lot of opportunities for innovation and technological progress, but also we have a metaphor that we often say, the only thing moving faster than the internet here in Chattanooga is the rate at which people come together to help each other and ask, what can we be doing better? Here we have a lot of the employees that are working with the nonprofit organization.
So these are all the employees of the company?
Absolutely, that are waving at us. And over here we have a program called Co-Starters, which if Rebecca has a few minutes to chat about, she can tell you what Co-Starters is actually now doing around the world.
Okay, so that's how you say it. Hey Rebecca.
Hi.
So tell us more about Co-Starters.
Co-Starters is a 9-week program that helps entrepreneurs at any stage of business, but the common thing is that they're stuck. Maybe they're stuck because it's a new idea, or maybe they're stuck because they've been in business for a while and it's just not working how they expect it to be. And the way it works is they meet once a week for 3 hours in a group of 10 to 15 entrepreneurs, led by a facilitator who's an experienced business person from the community. And they work through their business ideas using our version of the business model canvas, which is all about just going back to the basics and iterating by talking to customers and identifying what your assumptions are about why and how your business is going to work, and then honing it along the way through the 9 weeks. We started here in Chattanooga with Co-Starters, and we now license the program to communities around the country and the world, and we're in about 50 places now around the US and New Zealand, supporting startup communities.
Very cool. So what does it cost for the co-starter founder or the company CEO to come in and join the program?
So that depends on the organization. So we have a very wide range, depending on the community, depending on the organization running it. Our only requirement is that the entrepreneur has to pay something so that they have a vested interest in actually doing the program. But we've seen the program priced anywhere from $100 to $1,500, just depending on the community.
Very cool. And how much does it cost to get a license from you guys?
So for a basic license, it's an annual licensing fee of $5,000. There's also a training process. We send our team to train local people on facilitating the program to ensure quality and consistency in how it's delivered. So that's $2,500, and then there's a material fee to buy the materials ongoing.
Brilliant. So how can they contact you? On email maybe?
Yeah, they can go to our website, costarters.co, and get started, or email, getstarted@costarters.co.
Brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rebecca.
My own video.
I love these thingies. Really cool. You know, for an open space, I think this is a must. This is really cool.
Except we always forget to turn it.
I'll show you their map back here as well.
It's not quite accurate, close-ish.
Got a lot of fun flyers. That's a good one. When Outside Magazine called us the best town ever. They also have running polls each year where they ask for the most favorite outdoor city in the U.S. I believe Chattanooga won again as well. So we have a very strong outdoor recreational culture here. Here was the map that Rebecca was talking about, where you're starting to see, and like she said, this hasn't been updated, but we're starting to see these co-starter communities blossom across the country and hopefully around the world as well, to make this an international movement, much like what you yourself have been supporting throughout your lifetime, supporting the entrepreneurial spirit across borders. So if you like, I can show you upstairs and
Sure.
show you some of the space there. So this
We
is,
are at the right place. So what is this place, Alex?
So this is the fourth floor of the library.
This is the Gigabit Lab.
And this is, among other things, you can see the Gig Lab right over here. I will see if we can find a representative to speak about the Gig Lab. Here are some more events you're looking at. Like for instance, here's the Gig Tank demo day. But this is just a fantastic community space.
So are those like in startups or something?
This gentleman, who I believe is Robert. Robert is a grassroots filmmaker doing a project called Southern Dialogues, where much like yourself, loves creating a platform where people can tell their stories and how they're improving their community. So let's go over here and chat with them.
Sometimes I feel I can just chat all the time.
What's that?
Sometimes I feel that the universe is sending me crazy, amazing people all the time, and I have to like have like 10 lives to meet all of them.
I'm right there with you.
Hi. How are you?
Are you recording right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Sure. My name is Robert.
Hey, Robert. So he was telling your story.
A little
My story.
bit about Southern Dialogues. And
Yeah. So a year ago, well, 2 years ago, I started doing the documentary program. It's about how the South is changing. Really trying to use the videos as an opportunity to listen when in real life conversation can feel like a non-starter. And very much we're talking about like technology, like recording technology like this right now. We think very like easily about how it's helped people separate themselves out from each other, create really like distinctive online communities that then become, that detract from your real life human experiences. And I think that it's up to us, in having real life experiences, building relationships with people, to try to do better than that. But when the business model of the media is to get people to separate themselves out, that's your value proposition, you got to do better than that. So my web series has always been, how do you flip that typical relationship between media and political polarization? And I do that by listening. Again, by having the videos be an opportunity to listen when in real life conversation can feel like a non-starter. And this series in Chattanooga has been a way to try that at sort of the medium scale in real time over the last year with like the leadership elements of the community, and then now with a screening series, bring that out to as many people as possible, invite as many voices into the conversation as possible, and it becomes a way to do a public forum at the level of a mid-sized city that genuinely does reflect, again, the best possible public conversation about what the future looks like and how we're building that together right now and how we can be doing a better job all the time. So it's about tech. So he was just telling you about a really incredible technological and innovation community that we have here now. It's about housing, gentrification, real estate. We're in a construction boom, as are most mid-sized urban markets across the country. So what are we seeing in terms of the market changing? How is that defining this time in our city? We're talking about regional economic development and a really robust long-term planning initiative called Thrive 2055. It's another foundation initiative, but with the Chamber of Commerce, It's one more aspect of how the leadership element in Chattanooga is really far ahead of what its needs are. And how does that relate to, again, like getting community buy-in and building out like open-ended, long-term solutions for big structural problems that we're running into as we grow. And then the last of the 4 episodes is public education. And for there, it's really, becomes the literal question of what civic initiative can do to improve the experience of this next generation. So, but I'm up here on the library. I'm on the 4th floor of the library, trying to go downtown public library. For the last year, this is my little studio. I need to change the name. It will be Dialogues Documentary Studio. And this has just been a passion project of mine, because we all need to do the best thing
Beautiful.
we can think of. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So we're at the Society of Works, which is a co-working space.
So here you have several self-employed professionals, or in some cases, young entrepreneurs.
So this is an office room
so this is
dedicated.
a private office that you can rent. And the premise is that I think anyone who's been self-employed or is trying to get something off the ground, it's always better to work around other people who are in the same boat as you, where there's a paid-forward culture. Something that I felt in my lifetime, and I think other entrepreneurs can relate. You have to be around people who believe in the paid-forward mentality. If you aren't around those folks, it can get really old really quickly. But a space like this is an environment where
That's the Tech Goes Home office.
That's the Tech Goes Home office. I don't believe Sammy is here at the moment, but I'll definitely make sure that you're connected. And you sort of just get a sense. There's even Mozilla has an office here.
The who?
This is Mozilla.
Oh,
You remember
wow.
they made the Firefox browser, and they have a community foundation that is working with a variety of different gigabit-enabled cities, including Chattanooga. So we're very fortunate to have them here.
And we can have some games.
And of course, what workspace would be complete without blasts from the past. So, retro video games. So, and then this is a beautiful view as well. And one of the things I love about Chattanooga, I feel very blessed to live here. I've lived just about all over. I was in the Pacific Northwest. I've lived in the Silicon Valley Bay Area, the Midwest, Iowa, hometown of Knoxville, Tennessee. Lived in Europe for a short period of time. Can't imagine in any other place I would rather be right now. Like we were talking about earlier, one of my favorite movies is one with Sylvester Stallone, Rocky, where it's a wonderful story about here is a man that was truly at rock bottom, and because he was a southpaw, was able to become a champion. It's a story that I think is very meaningful to a lot of Americans that don't start with very much. They start with very little. They don't have family wealth. They don't have a lot of connections. But something that gets all of us in this country very excited is regardless of who you are, where you come from, or what category you fit into, or how anyone chooses to label you, that this is a place where you can come, and if you work hard and if you're focused, there are going to be other people that can help you also become a champion. In Chattanooga, it wasn't too long ago, back in the mid-20th century, that Walter Cronkite publicly stated, a very famous journalist, that Chattanooga was the dirtiest city in America. A lot of the clean buildings you saw around you today were not so clean. It was very dirty. There was a lot of manufacturing, which meant a lot of smog and CO2, carbon, overlapping the city. You had questionable behavior on the streets, I'll put it that way. And the riverfront was far from being developed. But there's a community here that came together and said, we can make it better. And now it's one of many case studies across the country of a city that's completely revitalized its urban core, and it's now attracting talent from not just across the country, but from around the world. One of my favorite stories is if you look at the riverfront, there's a pedestrian bridge. I forget his name. Who was the mayor of Bogota in Colombia? he had a great saying. He said, "The measure of a healthy city is the degree to which you can actually get around without a car." I love that.
So the guy with the Volkswagen.
What's that?
Is that the guy with the Volkswagen?
He might have had one. I just know he was the mayor of Bogota for quite some time, and he was very famous for promoting Bogota as being one of the most walkable cities on the planet. And that's one of the things I love about Chattanooga. It's very easy to get around without a car. I live in North Chattanooga. I can either rent a bicycle or walk across a pedestrian street bridge, and I find myself downtown where it's completely safe. And what I love about that Walnut Street Bridge is the city actually said, we're going to tear down this bridge because it's in decay and it's going to cost too much money for us to repair it. What citizens actually did in this community was they came together and they said, hey, if you put all the money it's going to take to tear down that bridge and we raise the rest of the money to restore it, can we do it? They found a way to work together.
That's a great idea.
And then sure enough, now we have families and people of all ages on the weekends walk across the bridge. And I wish you could be here to see it because it is one of the most sentimental landmarks in this community, at least for me. Whenever I walk across that bridge, I see people that I know and I'm able to say hello. I meet people that I don't know yet and I'm able to shake their hands and hear their stories, whether that's a street musician or someone that may end up actually being my neighbor and I haven't had a chance to meet them yet. So it's a great symbol that the more we're able to get out of this modern society that somehow, whether it's intentional or not, isolates us. When we drive around in cars, when we watch television, when we play video games, when we're on our phones, we're connecting with something other than other people. So creating urban design that helps to accelerate human interaction is, I think, such a crucial part of revitalizing not just a community around you, but also your own personal life as well.
I agree 100%. What happened that the city changed from what it was to what it is?
People. People with resources, people with heart. And then those aren't mutually exclusive, but they're not exactly overlapping either, right? But it takes both. And for people to come together to say, we can make this better and we're ready to make the investment, not just with money, but also with time. Because at the end of the day, it's not necessarily that there's a truth to be discovered, that a community either can or can't be improved. It's an attitude. And
So almost any city with a few people who go out and try to start making things better will start changing.
I believe that. I believe that. And I think Chattanooga is one of many American cities that can be a testament to that as well. And by the same token, what makes this city unique is far from our accomplishments. It's our mindset. Our accomplishments are there. There's so much more to do. I mean, this is far from a city without its fair share of challenges. We're still getting there. We still have issues with education. We still are trying to create a more inclusive community that welcomes diversity. We're still trying to do a lot of things that are in the name of the public interest and the public good. But what keeps it moving, what makes me feel like this is truly a home for me and my friends and so many other Chattanoogans, is that I don't think you'll find many people walking down the streets of the Innovation District that every day they don't ask themselves, what can we be doing better? What can I be doing better? A balance between recognizing that change begins within, always, but then as we focus on that change within, we also can be a part of the change out there in the world to make it a better place, not just for ourselves, but for our neighbors as well.
Beautiful.
Walk around a little bit more, and then I'm happy to show you some other buildings in the neighborhood if you'd like to see. Okay.
So I think this is the Apple Lisa.
Yes, I believe
And they have tweaked it to a gigabit lab. It works on the gigabit. The Lisa has a new port in it, so it can work on a gigabit. So Waz, I hope you're watching this. I know he didn't like Lisa much. I don't know, as per movie at least. But the Lisa team is working on gigabit without wires. So this is the Oculus from Facebook.
Yes.
And whatever he's watching, you're watching it, I guess. And this is scary stuff because, when you wear this, you feel like you're there. And this is the next big thing, I think, when it comes to the world of technology. It will just blow people's minds off what it can do.
Absolutely.
I think it could tweak our subconscious even.
I think it's moving in that direction. And was
So unfounded.
the Unfoundation, UN Foundation.
Oh,
I remember was started with a 2-day workshop called 48-Hour Launch, similar to what Andrew Hyde started with the Startup Weekend, where at the time when I was one of the co-founders and a few others, Sheldon Grizzle here in Chattanooga, and we came together and we said, how can we create a 2-day workshop experience where people can come together to launch not only business ideas but also social enterprises and initiatives for the social good. So I remember when this actually happened and this came out of a 48-hour launch like experience, and the premise is simple. A lot of people throughout the community pay around $100 a month to go into a fund, and each cycle they will allocate ballpark $1,000, $2,000, I believe, to a social entrepreneur with an idea on the grounds that it just sounds like a good idea. Oftentimes one of the challenges you run into when you're working with large organizations, you're working with foundations, is building that relationship over time can take a long time. And so this is a way of sort of reducing the friction that it takes to get access to seed capital, just to try something and to start something new. And this isn't powered from a top-down initiative. This is very much bottom-up. This is everyday people who love their community, who love their city, give money towards this organization, towards this cause, and say, we're always on the lookout for people who have a dream and they want to give back, and we're willing to offer some seed funding to help them at least build the framework, to get up the website, to get some of the core pieces going, so that hopefully over time it captures the imagination of others as well and can manifest more resources.
nice. The Unfoundation.
Yeah.